ईश्वरं सुता श्रीमन् पूर्वा सन्ध्या प्रवर्तते उत्तिष्ठ सत्यसाईश कर्तव्यं देवामानिकम्.
I think that the only point that I truly wanted to make tonight is just to remember that as a seeker of higher truth, as anyone who is truly not only desiring liberation, but is committed to walking out the process, right, of dissolution, we always have to remember that before like one of the foundational pieces of that work is to be, kind of think of it as to be the best human that you're capable of being, okay? Because the divine aspects of what we would think of as morality, right? Ethical conduct, that kind of stuff is very important. It's very important. You don't walk the path as seeker from the space of being an immoral individual, right? You aren't a crook who continues functioning that way and have the energy of that is so low, right, that it would be outside of having an awakening, right, where then that drops away and it allows for the uplifting of consciousness. From the level of that kind of consciousness, you couldn't kind of keep stepping it up without that falling away. And that's certainly not to say that someone couldn't be a crook and then end up having, having a come to Jesus moment or whatever it is that we want to call it, and having a life turn around. That absolutely can happen, happens all the time. But it is one of those things, and it's like it's taught within Buddhism, and I'm sure all the major religions pretty much hold this as a given, that moral behavior is important, like it truly is. And who are we as a society without it, right? It's an interesting thing as this happened today, and even earlier, completely unrelated to this, I was actually looking at the rule of law. And of course, all of this has been on my radar a lot, but I was just kind of looking at the rule of law and the role it plays in a democracy, or a democratic republic as we have, and how, and I think I spoke to this earlier as we started in the grid, that without trust in the system, it falls apart, right? And we can all see that there's not a lot of trust in the system right now, and we're teetering on the edge of it potentially falling apart, which we saw on January 6th, right? But we have to remember that the reason that people aren't trusting is because so many of those who have been in positions of power have not been trustworthy, right? And so it's just really important that we just take that understanding and bring it home to ourselves. Am I, right? Do I do my best to be an ethically upstanding human? Do I do my best to be morally upright, right? Do I do my best to be fair in my judgment of others, and not impassioned by a reactive emotional state based on what my ego might want to judge any person, however it may want to run that story. Am I capable of pulling back enough to be objective? And even if it's running counter to the story that I, from an egoic place, want to believe in and want to attach myself to, can I pull back and detach from that in moments where it's important to do so? And that is really important. It's really, really important. So all of this happening tonight, it just kind of all came forward that this would be a good time. I was going to talk about that anyway, about kind of the rule of law And then this happened tonight, so it all seemed to fall into place.